Good afternoon, Neeraj.
Sir.
ये who is the fourth person? ये किसका है? Newert WebEx जो आ रहा है?
Koch.
Mr. अच्छा, Stephen Koch. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hans.
Good afternoon, sir. You are on mute. Mr. Hans, can you hear us? Yes, but we can't hear you, sir. No, we can't hear you, I think. Maybe you can log out and log in again, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, just have to switch the
Yeah.
system. Yes, I close it. Okay, good afternoon.
You had a wonderful trip in Jaipur.
Sir?
Your trip to Jaipur was quite good.
Yes, yeah. It was excellent. Yeah. It was well received from your colleagues, yes, of course. It was a very good event.
Thank you.
So how it will be today, I would like to show a PowerPoint presentation. How can I upload this?
You just need to share your screen, sir. You just open the PowerPoint and share the screen.
Wait, just open the PowerPoint.
And then come back to this window and then say there's an option called share.
Okay,
The
open
bottom.
now. Okay, the PowerPoint is open now.
Now come back to this window and share that screen.
Right.
We can test run right now.
Yes, so I've opened it.
Come back to this WebEx window and use the option share at the bottom.
The bottom video. Okay.
Say that. Yes, now we can see the.
Okay. So now I can start like this.
Yes, perfect.
So can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, fine. So that's fine. So I leave it like this.
No, you have to close this window, sir. Stop sharing.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so just here. Okay, freigeben. And okay, fine, perfect. Okay, understood. Okay. Just what's the other? So fine, perfect. So how's the background? Shall we? Just or shall we? No, the background is not so nice there. See like this. No. See this. Maybe this close. Yeah, close. Yes. So more. And even more, a little bit more closer. Yeah. A little bit on this side, yeah. Yeah. So the background is better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, fine. Okay. So shall I disappear now or?
You try to basically share the video वहां से एक बार आवाज देख लेते हैं आ रही नहीं आ रही.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Naveen ji. Good
Sir.
afternoon, Neeraj.
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Very good afternoon, sir.
Have I joined early?
No, sir. We have Mr. Devashish Prusti, the Deputy Chief of Mission of India to Belgium and Luxembourg and European Union.
Excellent.
And we have Mr. Hans Jog, the Trade Commissioner and Commercial Counselor, Embassy of Austria.
Mr. Devashish, good afternoon to you. Sorry,
Very
good
good
morning to
afternoon.
you and
Good
good
afternoon.
afternoon to my own people.
Sir.
And thank you for sparing your time and coming on this platform.
Always
And
an
we all-
honor and privilege, sir. Always an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. And we also have Dr. Stephen Koch, sir, the Head of Department of Economic and Global Affairs, Embassy of Federal Republic of Germany.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just working a little on getting that a little closer so that you can see me a little better, but we're here and alive and kicking.
Yes. Thank you very much. So we also are waiting to meet all of you in person as early as possible so that we can have more interactions.
Good afternoon, Dr. Stephen Koch.
Yes, good afternoon.
Excellent seeing you.
Yes,
though
so that's
virtually.
me. We are still working a little on the technicalities here.
And thank you for sparing your time.
The focus, but you know, the content of the contribution remains the same.
Yeah. So we are just waiting for our another guest, Mr. Florin Miller from Embassy of Switzerland.
Okay. Is His Excellency Mr. Jayadeep Majumdar
his-
is not coming?
No, we have got his recorded message, sir.
Right. Okay. What about Mr. Hans Jog?
Mr. Hans Jog is there, sir. He has
There?
just switched off his camera. Yeah, he's just
Okay.
switched on. Yeah.
Okay, hope you can hear me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hans.
Good
How are
afternoon.
you?
Fine, thank you. Pleasure participating in this important event. Pleasure meeting you. And hope, as you said, to meet you very soon in person. Would be a pleasure.
You are also located in Vienna.
No, I'm based in Delhi.
Aust-
I'm based in New Delhi.
Okay, in Delhi. Yeah, Embassy of Austria. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Florin Miller, the Head of Economic and Commercial Section, Embassy of Switzerland. Thank you very much for joining, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Seth. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller.
Good afternoon.
So Neeraj, we have all our panelists, so we can start.
Yes, sir.
So Mayank, people are there on live, so we can go live on that platform as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I welcome you all to the virtual edition of Second International Conference and Exhibition on Strengthening India-Europe Economic Relations, Opportunities and Way Forward. So today we are on day 2. Yesterday we had the inaugural session as well as 2 plenary sessions where we had covered the Eastern Europe as well as the Northern Europe. So today we have plenary session 3, where we are covering global trade and investment opportunities for Indian industry in Western Europe. So I thank you all for joining. Just to give a brief introduction of all, we have Mr. Debashish Prusti, the Deputy Chief of Mission of India to Belgium and Luxembourg and European Union. Thank you very much, Mr. Debashish, for joining from there. It's a early, good morning to you there. We also have Dr. Stephen Koch, the Head of Department for Economic and Global Affairs, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany. We have Mr. Hans-Georg Hortengel, the Trade Commissioner and Commercial Counselor, Embassy of Austria. And Mr. Florin Miller, the Head of Economic and Commercial Section, Embassy of Switzerland. And we also got the recorded message from His Excellency Mr. Jayadeep Majumdar, the Embassy of India to Austria, Montenegro, and the Holy See Permanent Mission of India to international organizations based in Vienna. And from PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we have our Secretary General, Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, and myself, the Assistant Secretary General, Naveen Seth. And I am also joined with my colleague, Mr. Neeraj, who heads the International Affairs Division, and Mr. Mayank Chatwal. So I once again welcome you all and will not take much of your time. Now I would like to invite Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, the Secretary General, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to give the introductory remarks, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Naveen. Good afternoon and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies from the Embassy of Austria, Embassy of Switzerland, Federal Republic of Germany, European Union, and in absentia, His Excellency Mr. Jayadeep Majumdar, Ambassador of India to Austria. It's a very, very bright and sunny afternoon in India. I'm sure it is there in your countries too, early in the morning. On behalf of the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industries, it gives me immense pleasure to extend a very warm and cordial welcome to each one of you on the virtual edition of the second International Conference and Exhibition on Strengthening India-Europe Economic Relations, Opportunities and Way Forward, themed as the Global Trade and Investment Opportunities for Indian Industry in Western Europe. It's an honor to have your presence at this session today, and I'm really glad and thankful to each one of you for having spared your valuable time. Ladies and gentlemen, the present session of the day will be focusing on the global trade and investment opportunities for the Indian industry in Western Europe, which are the following countries: the Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Luxembourg, Netherlands, and Switzerland. India and Western Europe are two significant geographical regions with respect to future global trade and investments. With a point of view, the growing economic times with emerging markets such as the Indian and Western Europe are very important to assure an increase of exported goods and services. And in the recent years, bilateral relations have acquired diversity with collaboration in research, innovation, and investment by both the sides. The economic and commercial linkages are an important component of India's bilateral relations with Western Europe, which reflects the growing interest of both the governments in expanding the trade. Western Europe considers India as an important market for its products and is looking to increase the number of joint ventures and encouraging investments in and from India. With the change in the policy of the Government of India under the dynamic leadership of our Prime Minister, Honorable Shri Narendra Modi ji, there have been a large, changes in the policy and in the ease of doing business, and also in the cost of doing businesses in India. A recent advancement which has taken place in India is the one-stop shop for the ease of doing business, where an industry business entity need not go to various platforms and various places to get their permissions and to get their feasibility reports. It's a single window clearance system which has been established, which is in its nascent stages. This was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister on behalf of the Honorable Prime Minister by our Minister of Commerce and Industry, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, last month. So this is a very big step towards ease of doing business and easing out the cost of doing business for the business entities, whether it is in LLPs, whether it is in joint ventures, or whether it is any industry can establish it by putting up their details in that website. The relations between India and Western Europe have traditionally been very close and friendly, which has demonstrated the ties of friendship and trust between the two countries. A stable and reliable legal system and efficient administration would certainly offer full protection of the investment, with further offers on the competitive tax rates for businesses. As you are all aware, the tax rates of the government has also been reduced in the government of India as far as corporate taxes are concerned, especially in the small and medium enterprises, which had suffered a large amount of business losses during the pandemic. Over the past years, a number of Indian enterprises entered the European market by using the Western Europe as the gateway to Europe, and also as base to their further expansion and activities within the continent. Western Europe itself is home to a large number of highly specialized medium-sized companies which are suitable as collaborations, partners, or acquisition targets for Indian companies. As emerging economies, the trade between both the countries is assured to go much higher. Growth in the bilateral trade has been driven largely by the rapid economic. As and when you are planning your delegations to India for business visits, along with the VIP or dignitaries who are coming to India, it will be our pleasure and honor as a PhD chamber to host your delegation and have interactive meeting with our members. We hope such interactions in future will also help to improve business transactions and opportunities. I hope today's session will ultimately lead to enhancing the multi-dimensional cooperation that already exists between India and the Western Europe. With these words, I would once again like to welcome each one of you on this platform, as well as all the business entities who will be interacting on the exhibition platform. I would like to conclude my address and would like to avail this opportunity to once again thank all our dignitaries for being present on this occasion. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, for your remarks and setting the agenda for today's webinar. And as you mentioned, we have this going live on a platform because we are thankful to the Department of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. As this is a B2B meet also simultaneously going on, we have 31 Indian exhibitors who have been showcasing virtual booth. And B2B meetings have been fixed with different buyers from different countries for them. Since yesterday, those B2B meetings are going on. And today also, immediately after this session, we will have B2B meetings going on in the platform we have developed for them. So we once again thank the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and also our partner, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung from Germany, for associating with us for this event. So now I would like to invite Mr. Debashish Prusti, the Deputy Chief of Mission of India to Belgium and Luxembourg and European Union, to please address us.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Naveen. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So very good afternoon. Very good afternoon to the distinguished delegates and all the participants of this unique event. And good morning to my colleagues from different embassies in the parts of Western Europe. It's indeed a great honor to take part in this unique initiative. So let me at the outset thank the PSD Chambers of Commerce and Industry for organizing this event amidst this pandemic. I'm indeed delighted to speak on this second international conference and exhibition on strengthening India-Europe economic relations, opportunities and way forward. Let me give you a bit statistical perspective about our current level of engagement as far as bilateral relations between India and EU on trade and commerce are concerned. As you all know, amidst the pandemic in 2020, we had seen a contraction of India-EU trade by 16% to around 65 billion euros from its earlier level of around 78 billion euros. This is even more significant given that the EU remains one of the India's leading trade partners and the second largest market for Indian exports. Gradually, we have seen that the trade has shown some positive growth. The performance of Indian merchandise exports to Europe in general in the current financial year, I mean till October 2021, has touched 46 billion US dollar, which is 83% of the whole statistics of 2020 and 76% of the statistics of 2019. So this is against all the difficulties, I must admit, faced by our exporters in terms of the COVID pandemic, which has induced to some logistical constraints in some parts. We also have a growing trade in services, which is around 32.58 billion euro in 2019. And in 2020, the India-EU 27 bilateral trade in services also touched 28 billion euro. So in both 2020 and 2019, the trade balance in services was in favor of India. We also have a growing investment relations. And as rightly pointed out by Mr. Sanyal, so the EU is the India's largest source of FDI with a total of around 87 billion US dollar invested since 2000. In fact, the FDI inflows from the EU have more than doubled in the last 1 decade. And Indian investments in the EU too are growing at a very high pace. For example, the latest autumn economic forecast of 2021, it says that the EU economy is rebounding faster than expected after the COVID-19 pandemic-induced recession. Thus, the EU economy regained the pre-pandemic output level in Q3 of 2021 and moved from recovery to now expansion phase. Obviously, this will lead to increase in our bilateral trade, especially in the context of our country, India. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you will agree that even though these are impressive numbers, the potential is much greater. Even as India and EU relations are broad-based, it is the pillar of trade and investment relationship that drives the engine of economic growth. This relationship has been taken to the next level during the last historic meet between our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, and the 27 EU leaders, head of the state, who met virtually in Portugal on the 8th of May this year. And during that meeting, a major announcement was pronounced with regard to the resumption of negotiations on a balanced, ambitious, comprehensive, and mutually beneficial free trade agreement between India and EU. And also, we saw that the announcement talked of launching of new negotiations for an investment protection agreement and geographical indication agreement parallelly. In addition, both India and EU have agreed to strengthen the cooperation in the area of regulatory cooperation and supply chain resilience. The outcome of these announcements, I am sure, will pave the way for opening up of more opportunities, especially in trade, investment, and other economic frontiers. There are many other areas on which we would see a more intensive engagement in the time to come. For example, connectivity partnership, cooperation in climate, and digital partnership. I would like to highlight these engagements since they have significant implications in terms of new opportunities and openings for Indian industries and our business community. The first of this is the connectivity partnership, which would involve setting of greater connectivity between India and the EU, and also both India and EU working together in third countries. This will be an all-encompassing initiative to include all aspects of infrastructure development, more particularly on the resilience infrastructure, on which our Honorable Prime Minister very recently announced a new initiative in Glasgow during the COP26. Physical connectivity such as buildings of roads, railways, and ports will be part of this endeavor. This will also include energy and digital connectivity, and all of it would have a strong investment and sustainable development element embedded in them. The second area would be in the efforts on both sides to cooperate in combating climate change. India's strong emphasis on renewables and low carbon hydrogen and green energy and sustainable development has resulted in impressive outcomes in recent years. India's strong commitment to climate change objectives are driven largely by the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister and offers many opportunities for businesses in India and Europe to collaborate in terms of technology, diffusion of and deployment of environmentally sound technology, and investment, of course. Possibilities of cooperation on new forms of energy, for example, solar, offshore wind, and low carbon hydrogen, and other forms of green energy, including battery and technologies, are a few that I would like to mention. Similarly, there will be great opportunities in urban mobility, electric vehicles, in the sector of water, for example. The rejuvenation of water quality in the Ganges is of prime importance, and not to mention, of course, the importance of agriculture sector. Another important area of the focus is the digital platform. We have several convergences on political and regulatory issues with the European Union on this aspect. To support this effort, the Government of India, along with the European Commission, they are going to hold the first Digital Investment Forum early next year to promote linkages between Indian startups and EU venture capital funds, especially focusing on the startups and MSME sectors. Apart from expanding the opportunities at the bilateral level, the recent measures taken by Government of India, of course, major initiatives have been already outlined by Mr. Sanyal. For example, the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the productivity-linked incentive schemes on the identified sectors, and opening of more sectors for foreign investment and privatization are also keenly looked by the investors from Western Europe. Indian business communities may explore the option of collaboration with EU companies and investors for acquisition of technology and investment, of course, which in turn enhance the trade between the two. Before concluding my remarks, I would like to convey that our industry and business community, they must explore the potential that is currently offered by Western Europe, which I must say is huge. But to harness this potential, we need to enhance our quality standards, upgradation of our product in the supply chain and the global value chain, in addition to making our products cost competitive. This is where on both sides, both in the government sector and in industries, we need to think of what additional measures can be taken which would provide an impetus to take these bilateral relationships to the next level. I once again thank PSD Chambers of Commerce and Industry for organizing this unique event. We are happy to work with you and support your efforts in all possible ways. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Devashish, for your remarks. And as we were also from PhD Chamber planning for a delegation to come over to Belgium and Luxembourg in as soon as possible once things are opened properly and we have all the precautions taken. So we will definitely get back to you on those things. And if at all you have any work which you feel that PhD which can assist you, please feel free. We would like to work very closely with you, sir. Thank you very much once again.
Absolutely. We, in fact, have identified various sectors and the stakeholders, say from textile, from the supply chains in the electronics, semiconductors, on green hydrogen. So if you have sector specialists who have some interest to collaborate with the EU industry, we'd be happy to take that forward to the next level, because we have all the data and the statistics, including the company profile. So if you have any queries or anything that is expected from the embassy, would be happy to take that forward. Thank you.
Sure, definitely, sir. Just to apprise you and others also that we have separate expert committees, like you mentioned about the hydrogen. Recently, sir, last month only, we have done an international climate summit where hydrogen was discussed in detail. So, and again, we are planning another exhibition in Norway in June. So definitely we'll get back to you on those things also. And sector specific, as you mentioned about the sectors, we can have interactive sessions or virtual B2B meets also with our industry members from those domain and the experts from those region, and can have one-to-one interaction with them, sir.
Lovely. So I'm joined by my colleague from the embassy, Mr. N. Ashok Kumar, so who is the trade specialist. So I will share his coordinates with your team also, so that on a day-to-day basis we can have lively interactions.
Sure. So thank you very much, sir. So
Thank you.
now I would like to play a recorded message which we have received from His Excellency Mr. Jayadeep Majumdar, the Ambassador of India to Austria. I request my colleague Neeraj if you can just play that recorded message for us.
Namaskar, good afternoon. I thank you for this opportunity to speak on trade and investment opportunities for Indian industry in Austria. Austria, although a relatively small and landlocked country of about 9 million people, is a member of the European Union since 1995 and is an important link for India in its relationship with Europe, especially with countries of Central and Eastern Europe. Austria is among the most prosperous countries in the EU region, with extensive purchasing power and highly developed infrastructure. Austrian economy continues to perform above average among countries in the Eurozone on per capita growth, employment, as well as economic GDP growth. As India and the EU relaunch negotiations on a bilateral free trade agreement, Austria is likely to play a significant contribution in these negotiations. Austria's central location in the heart of Europe and its connectivity by land, rail, air, and the Danube River with the emerging market economies in the West, Central, and Eastern Europe region give it a significant advantage. The value of Austria's total imports as well as exports is approximately 150 billion euros each. The economy is highly integrated with other countries in Europe. Among its top 15 trade partners, almost all are in Europe, except China, which is from where it imports the most, and the USA, to which it exports the most. Germany is its largest trading partner with about 30% of Austrian bilateral trade. Austrian industry is very well plugged on into the German industrial machine. Austrian products and services are considered of quality and reliability, as well as of world-class design, engineering, and craftsmanship. Many of the Austrian companies have developed advanced cutting-edge technologies in several niche areas of interest to us, particularly in energy, mobility, sustainability, infrastructure, and urban technologies. India and Austria foster a close and friendly economic relationship. There has been considerable cooperation in the fields of steelmaking, manufacturing technology, railway and transport, equipment, metallurgy, and through a large number of collaborations, technology transfers, and joint ventures. Over 150 Austrian companies are active in India. These companies are active in fields such as transportation and signaling systems, railways, hydroelectric power, tunneling, supplies for both industrial plants, robotics, water purification, and monitoring of the quality of water. We see considerable scope for expansion of partnerships between Austrian companies and their Indian counterparts in terms of B2B connections, especially in the field of renewables, energy, mobility, sustainability, infrastructure, urban technology, waste management, and green technologies. Post-COVID-19 pandemic, the Austrian government has launched Refocus Austria program for global outreach as its economic comeback plan after the pandemic. As part of the campaign, Austria is presenting itself as a strong, stable, and innovative place to do business in the heart of Europe, focusing on core competencies of the Austrian economy. As companies globally are looking for resilience through building alternative value chains, we are engaging with Austrian businesses and encouraging them to focus on India as a manufacturing hub by highlighting various reform measures that the government of India in the past few years has been taking to build an Atmanirbhar Bharat. We also encourage companies in India to look at the opportunities in Austria and through Austria in Europe, especially as the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic has opened certain opportunities for investment and partnerships in these countries. I thank you for your attention. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Excellency. And now, to take the event further, I would like to invite Dr. Stephen Koch, the Head of Department for Economic and Global Affairs, Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany.
Well, thank you very much. Namaskar. Thanks for inviting me to present Germany as a possible destination for investment. I think indeed it's a very good idea not only to present individual countries, but the entire number of countries within Europe, so that companies from India interested in investing in Europe, have a choice of many delicious fruits, and which one you take depends obviously on your individual needs, on your individual preferences. Speaking in plain English, of course, we are also in a way competitors among European countries in attracting international investment, in particular investment from India. But this is a fair competition, and we encourage all investors to compare what the individual country has to offer, and thus which of the European countries, which of the EU countries to choose for your investment. Obviously, and it has been mentioned, EU and India are key economic partners for each other. I mean, they're ranking high in trade, in goods, in services, and also in investments, which are all job-creating machines, and thus also enable people's mobility in all walks of life and economic prosperity for as many as possible. The good news is that in the last decade, the EU-India trade in goods increased by 40%, and the trade in services even more, by about 75%. And also investment flows to India from Europe have tripled. When it comes to trade in goods and services within the EU, Germany is India's largest trading partner, with in the crisis year 2020 altogether 17 billion in goods in both directions combined, and almost 7 billion trade in services in the very same year. Another good news is that it looks like in 2021 we will already exceed the trade figures which we had achieved in 2019 as last pre-crisis year. The EU and Germany indeed are becoming more and more important for Indian investors. The EU ranks #1 among the top host economies for worldwide inflow of foreign direct investment, and thus this already shows that Europe, and in particular the EU, is an attractive destination for investment. Regarding Germany, our combined figure of international or FDI investment was about 800 billion euro in 2018, and thus we are among the top 10 FDI destinations worldwide, have been attracting thousands of companies and investors over the years. And for Indian investors, Germany is the third most favored investment destination after the United States and the United Kingdom. So if you consider investing in Europe, in an EU country, why should you choose Germany actually? Now, I mean, a look on the map shows that Germany is located in the center of the EU, and with the removal of basically all the trade obstacles within the EU as a trade bloc, you have from the center of that bloc access to 450 million consumers, and we consider ourselves an excellent hub for these geographical reasons for business expansion throughout Europe. We do have an excellent infrastructure and connectivity, being well connected by road, air, and rail to all the European countries. And we're also having, well, at least under normal circumstances, about 50 direct flights per week to India's tier 1 cities from Frankfurt and Munich. And actually, we are collaborating with the Indian government in order to step by step expand the current bubble system and return as soon as possible to the normal bilateral agreement under which we have around these already mentioned 50 weekly flights. Because that helps obviously a lot for investors if they want to first of all set up an investment and then maintain the physical contact with their company or with their subsidiary in Germany over the years. We are legally and politically stable, have a very strong record on investment protection, and in the case that there would be a legal debate between, say, a German company and an investing company, for instance from India, you can be quite sure that before a German court, the substance of the matter decide who is considered right and who is considered wrong, and it's not whether the company is a German company or an investor. We do have competitive tax rates for businesses. Admittedly, we do not offer the lowest taxes within the EU. Other companies are still a little keener on that issue, but still we consider the tax rates we offer competitive, and it depends on which is your actual or which group of criteria you choose when investing. Still, we think our overall offer is indeed very competitive, and that it includes the tax issue as well. Also considering that we have excellent logistics within Germany and connected to the entire world, and we have a very good supply chain integration. We also have a high level of education at all levels, and that relates to a high level of academic education at our universities throughout the country. And we also have, when you're looking at skilled professionals, the famous dual system of professional education, which allows that your entire personnel, your entire staff in a subsidiary in Germany can be manned with excellent professionals, be there with an academic background or at the professional also, for instance, mechanics level. And last but not least, we have a large number of highly specialized, medium-sized companies, which are very suitable as collaboration partners or for acquisition or an acquisition target also for Indian companies. And in fact, quite a number of the leaders in their respective market niche, the so-called hidden champions, many of them actually have a problem in finding a successor, and many of them consider, if they don't find an heir, for instance, that selling to a foreign company and using the money to set up a foundation with their name is an attractive option for them, and that offers Indian investors a lot of opportunity as well. If you want, if you are interested and if you consider choosing Germany as your investment destination, where could you find more detailed, more specific information? Well, we do have a system of support for investors at the federal level as well as at the regional level. At the federal level, Germany Trade and Invest, which is the economic development agency of the Federal Republic of Germany. It offers around 50 offices in Germany and abroad, also here in India. And its network of partners throughout the world, with that network, GTAI supports German companies setting up in foreign markets, but also supports foreign companies in setting up businesses in Germany. Here in India, GTAI is present in New Delhi and in Mumbai with 2 offices. And in fact, the investment specialist is located in Mumbai, but is ready to travel to support and advise you wherever you may be located in India. So GTAI provides market analysis and industry reports, business setup support services, and incentives and financing information. And the good news about that, first of all, it's obviously confidential, and second, it's free of cost. So you get competent advice support without paying even a single euro, because, well, in the end, we think as the German government that this support is a good investment, and for that reason, we indeed offer that free of cost. So GTAI helps Indian businesses in identifying the sector-specific opportunities and focused interactions on the core sectors of cooperation. Indeed, the 5 focus sectors and areas of specialization of GTAI sector-wise are pharma, pharmaceutical industry, medical technology, and electronic health as well, automation and robotics. Thirdly, digital infrastructure relating to hardware and software. Fourthly, commerce and supply chains. And last but not least, innovative and climate-friendly mobility and supply solutions. I also would like to mention that that we do have that kind of support not only on the federal level, but each and every of the 16 federal states do have their own, so to say, regional support institution. And in case you were already inclined to one of the 16 federal states, we could also bring you in touch with these agencies. And well, another good news is 8 of the 16 federal states, and in particular the economically most important federal states, do have representative offices here in India, some in Delhi, others in Bangalore, and yet others in Mumbai. So you could also get in touch with them directly in case you're already interested in one of the federal states. And summarizing, first of all, I think Germany is an attractive investment destination, certainly not the only one within the EU. But if you're looking for the specific mixture of advantages over various aspects which are relevant for investment destinations, would be our pleasure at the embassy to bring you in touch with our specialists in order to get business done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen, for a detailed presentation which you have made. And as you rightly mentioned, there is a huge potential between the 2 countries, and a lot of Indians are already working with Germans, and similarly vice versa also. And as a PhD, we also are working very closely with organizations like GIZ or Konrad Adenauer Stiftung also, and VDMA also. We work very closely with them as well. And apart from this, our trade fair division also participates in a lot of the messes which we either it is Messe Munich, Nuremberg, Hanover, Frankfurt, or Dusseldorf or Cologne. So we participate in different exhibitions which happen on sector specific. Take India Pavilion there, which our members go and participate in that, which are very beneficial for them as well. So definitely we look forward to have more such interactions and more participation in all those activities, which we definitely will work very closely with you on those things, sir. So we once again thank you for your time today. So now I would like to invite Mr. Hans Jog, the Trade Commissioner and Commercial Councillor Embassy of Austria, for his address, please.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure participating in this very important event, and it's an honor that you invited us, that we can be here. We as Austrian Trade Commission here in Delhi, we have a long-standing relationship with the PhD chamber, which goes over decades. So as His Excellency the Ambassador mentioned already, we have a very good economic relationship between India and Austria. Actually, at the moment, we have a trade deficit of India. We are importing like 100 million euros more from India than we are exporting it. And what is quite interesting is over there, if you analyze the figures over the last 10 years, it's striking how the import structure, what we have imported from India, how it changed. So in the meantime, almost 1/4 of the imports is engineered goods. 10 years ago, it was more relevant garments and textiles. So now this has changed, and I think this shows the potential of India and the new possibilities. So I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for you. Can you see it? Okay. So this is, let me just see. But this is from the Austrian Business Agency, a presentation, the name Business Location Austria, and the reasons to invest here. So the Austrian Business Agency is similar, like my colleague from Germany mentioned, is the government agency, and anything you need as a foreign investor going to Austria, you can approach them and they help you. So as His Excellency the Ambassador mentioned already, Austria is an industrial country, which many times is not so well known. Normally in the world, Austria is more known for tourism, as a tourism country, with its mountains and the valleys and these imperial cities we're having. Actually, in the meantime, like 150 Bollywood movies have been shot in Austria. Salman Khan likes a lot going there, visiting there. And just now, like 2 months ago, the Indian movie, Bollywood movie, Tiger Tree had been shot in Austria. So here's one of the famous Sachertorte, which represents the hospitality of Austria. But in the next minutes, I would try to change, not only change, to add the image you may have on Austria. So Austria is not only hospitality, Austria is also the manufacturer of Red Bull, so the famous energy drink Red Bull, where most of the persons think it's American. No, it's 100% Austrian. It is manufactured in Austria, and also the head office is in Austria. So I will give you, then here you see means of transport. So you cannot only ski in Austria. In future, you can use air taxis, which will fly across the cities and which you can use very soon. So my colleague from the German embassy presented the German industry. I would like to mention, as you know, that Austria is very interlinked with the German industry. It's our most important trading and business partner. So interestingly, all over the world, every second engine of a BMW is manufactured in Austria. So you can say half the heart of the BMW is made in Austria. So in the next, I will present some examples of Austrian companies which you never heard of or never thought of. So one company is DT Tech. They provide solutions for dependable data communication, and they offer the services to all major players in the aerospace area. Another company is Chrysler. Chrysler is one of the most efficient manufacturer of lightest batteries for e-cars, e-mobility. Another example is Austrian company FACC, which helps international airlines to save fuel. Another example is Austrian company Bitmovin. So 50% of all internet videos in the world are using this the technology from this Austrian company, which I find is quite interesting. Another example is Tourradar. This is a startup scale-up which was founded in 2010 in Austria. It's an online marketplace for the travelers, for the tourist industry. So in the meantime, 2021, they offer 40,000 tours on the marketplace, are available with 2,000 different tour operators. And then another example is PaySafeCard. PaySafeCard, they are offering safe online payment systems, payment cards. And in the meantime, they are one of the major players in the world in this area, and they're offering the services in 46 countries. So this had just been some examples, and I hope I could change a little bit the image of Austria. I must say in Austria we have 540,000 companies. Interestingly, most of them are SMEs, so we do not have multinationals like Germany or Switzerland. Most of our companies, as I said, are small and medium companies, and we have like 300 hidden champions. Hidden champions, that means they are a family business over generations. They are located not in the city centers, they are located in remote areas in Austria, and with their technologies, which are niche areas, they belong to the top 3 in the world. So as the ambassador mentioned already, Austria is a landlocked country, it's a small country with 9 million people inhabitants, an area of 84,000 square kilometers. The GDP per capita is, like most Middle European countries, one of the largest in the world, with 39,000 euros per head. And very interesting, we are a small open economy, and almost 6% of our GDP we earn in export goods and services. The productivity in Austria is 50% above the EU average, similar like Germany, and the R&D, research and development quota, is 3.2%. So as special focus, I would line Austria. Austria, of course, has excellent relationship with the neighbors. It was mentioned by Ambassador already. Our most important trading partner, our neighboring countries, Germany, Switzerland, Italy. But I would like to put a special focus on the fact that Austria, for several reasons, historic reason, has excellent relationships with the Central and Eastern European countries. So you see in this, the numbers here in many Eastern European countries, Austria is the number top 2, top 3 investor there. So Austria is, in many of these countries, the most important investment partner there. There's also one reason that in the meantime, 370 multinational companies are using Austria, mainly Vienna, as a regional headquarter for the businesses. And one reason, as I mentioned before, is the economic ties with the neighbors. Of course, not only with Eastern European countries, also with the Western countries, with excellent relationship. But again, a special focus from Vienna, Austrian Airlines, you have 40 destinations you can reach in 23 countries. So this is really excellent network where you can reach your clients, and if you consider using Austria, Vienna as a hub especially for the Eastern European countries. One special aspect is the reason for our productivity, as I said, is higher than the EU average. One reason of that is our talented, our qualified personnel, and most important, our motivated personnel. So as my colleague mentioned, from Germany mentioned before, in the German-speaking countries, we have this dual educationship for apprenticeships. This means that the youngsters with 15, when they finish the school, they're employed by a company, and at the same time, they learn there, and at the same time, they continue their education in specialized schools. And of course, a dense network of private and public universities. As I said before, tourism is a very important factor in Austria, but tourism makes 15% of the GDP. The industry share in the GDP is the double of that, so 29% of the GDP share falls in industry. So this figure shows you that Austria is not only a tourism country, it's also an industrial country. And similar, again, as my colleague from Germany said, we offer for foreign investors a very modern, friendly tax system. We have a very modern group taxation. Our corporate tax rate is just 25%. And of course, we have a full range of double taxation treaties, and also with India. So again, what are the 5 major reasons why international companies should consider Austria as a hub, as a production facility? As I said, we are in the heart of Europe, Central European location with the ideal markets. Then we have above average productivity. This means, of course, our personnel is costly, but very effective. You have a high stability, security. You find qualified and flexible employees, state-of-the-art technologies, competitive business environments, and of course, finally, you find an attractive mix of direct and indirect incentives from several state agencies. So finally, what Austrian business agencies, what they offer you, of course, they help you finding a site by the site selection. They inform you about the laws, tax laws. They inform you about funding and financing possibilities. And also, after you have invested, they continue with their support. So if you consider investing in Austria, you would not be the first Indian company doing that. You see an example of very prominent Indian companies, large companies which have already invested in Austria and which are using Austria not only for their own business, as a consumer market, they are also using mostly Vienna as a hub to all other European destinations or markets. So with that, I finish. Thank you for attention. As I mentioned before, our trade office, Austrian trade delegation, we are based here in New Delhi, but we also have an office in Mumbai and in Bangalore. And anything what you need, business, trade related between India and Austria, please don't hesitate to visit us, to contact us. You're always most welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hans, for the detailed presentation. And I am sure our participants will be having some queries and all, which we will compile and share with you so that we can revert to them accordingly. And we look forward to meet you in person as early as possible so that we can plan our delegations, which we have been planning. But since last 1.5 years, nothing has been moving. So maybe soon within this Indian financial year, or maybe coming next year, mid of next year, we would definitely like to plan a delegation to your country, sir. Thank you very much. So now I would like to invite Mr. Florian Miller, the head of Economic and Commercial Section, Embassy of Switzerland, for sharing his views with us.
Much to everybody, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's definitely a huge pleasure to also be among my colleagues from Germany and Austria, and yeah, to talk about Switzerland and what Switzerland has to offer when it comes to investment opportunities. But in the next couple of minutes, and I do not have a PowerPoint presentation, but in the next couple of minutes, I would like to talk about 4 points. The first point is that Switzerland has a very strong economic footprint in India. I think it is important because when it comes to the economic relations between our countries, it's definitely not a one-way street. It needs both ways. So it's important that Swiss companies are in India in order also to be attractive for Indian companies in Switzerland. The second point then, I also mentioned it, is the Indian footprint in Switzerland, which is already quite strong, but there is a lot of room of improvement. And that's the third point, respectively. The fourth point, the third point before that, I would like to talk about what my colleagues also did, to talk about the advantages of Switzerland. Of course, many things I'm going to talk about for Switzerland are also valid for Germany and Austria. We are very much interlinked, and that's maybe already one strong point for Switzerland, but I will talk about this later. Switzerland is, I allow myself to say that because it has some Indian friends mentioned that the crown in Europe, and in Europe means not in the European Union, and that's already a difference. Switzerland is not in the European Union, but nevertheless, Switzerland offers to be a good gateway for Indian companies for Europe. Yes, and with that, I would like to start with very much the foundation of the strong Indian-Swiss economic relations, and that's the very strong Indian-Swiss people-to-people relations. I believe that is the basis and the fundament of everything. And just to give an example, in normal years, not in COVID years, about 280,000 Indians visit Switzerland every year, and about 50,000 Swiss visit India. At the moment, because of COVID, it's a bit less. We don't have at the moment direct flights, but that's something to I think which will be announced very soon. We are on a very good way to re-establish direct flights of our airlines, Swiss International Airlines, which is a part of Lufthansa Group. So that would allow a direct connection again from India to Switzerland. Furthermore, what is also important to mention, and that's why I allow myself, it's a bit very general, but Switzerland and India do have, we are culturally, it seems a bit odd, but I think we have many things in common when it comes also to culture and based on this people-to-people relations. So it's also, of course, valid for Germany and Austria, but Switzerland and India are both democracies. And what is unique, and that's also a bit the motto of our president of the Confederation of next year is diversity. Of course, Switzerland is not as diverse as India, but Switzerland is also a diverse country with 4 languages, 4 national languages. Of course, India is very much more diverse, but anyway, it's a thing in common, and another thing in common which might strengthen the understanding of from our people for each other's economic relations, and as a basis is that we are also federal countries. Switzerland does have 26 cantons, and these cantons are some quite unique. They have sometimes its own culture, and what I will also mention later, its own a bit more hard facts, its own tax regime. So the cantons do have a competition when it comes to taxes, which is in our opinion a good thing because it reduces taxes. So corporate taxes in Switzerland are quite low, below 15%, which will be the target of the new OECD global tax regime. So I think Switzerland is very competitive when it comes to this. But with this, the first point from these 4 points I mentioned shortly, but it's important, as I mentioned it's a Swiss footprint in India, because it's already the first entry point for Indian companies to Switzerland. And this footprint is very strong, although there is a lot of potential. The trade volume is about $20 billion US. 90% of trade is gold and precious metals, and that's why also Switzerland has a trade surplus. But when gold and precious metals would not be counted, then trade volume would be quite even. So Switzerland offers also a lot of opportunities for Indian companies when it comes to trade. Same is valid for investments. I will talk about later about Indian investments in Switzerland. But Switzerland is the 12th most important investor in India. Where concretely this means that there are 316 Swiss companies in India from all various sectors. So from the big multinationals, the pharma companies like Novartis, Roche, but also the very small ones. We have in Bangalore a consulate general which is focused almost exclusively on innovation, on R&D, and this is showcases that Bangalore is also a hub and a magnet for startups. And Switzerland has a lot of startups. For example, I think of renewable energy and those technologies, which offers huge potential for our countries to work together. We have done a database with all Swiss investments in India. That's why we know very exactly that there are 316 Swiss companies here. And that's why we can also make some quite interesting statements. What about the impact of Swiss companies? One is that 90% of Swiss companies have set shop in India after 1991. I mean, that's probably not very surprising, but the message behind is a strong message to India, I believe, and it is the message that for businesses, favorable economic policies do matter, because when India opened up in 1991, Swiss companies came in a large amount to India, and they continue to come. Only in the last year, and it was a difficult year, we all know that due to COVID, but only in this last year, about 10 more Swiss companies came to India. It's dynamic. Some companies also leave, but anyway, the balance is positive. So more companies come, and the potential is huge, still huge. Another very important statement we can do out of this database, and which also is a strong message to India, is that of these 316 Swiss companies, about 100 do have manufacturing sites in India, and almost 70% of these 100 companies use India as an export hub. So also this shows that the Indian policies do have an impact. They attract Swiss companies, and Swiss companies contribute to those Indian policies, like Make in India, like India to turn into an export hub. And the last point is out of this database is my point of view, the most important one, and it is that almost 30 Swiss companies do have an R&D center in India. Not only in Bangalore. Bangalore is the hub, of course, but also in Mumbai. And also this shows that the ecosystems of Switzerland and India fit very much together. And Swiss companies help India to become an innovation hub. And this, as I said initially, this is not a one-way street, it is a two-way street. And with this, I come to the Indian investments in Switzerland. And we'll give a very short overview about the historical timeline or just some facts, how it developed. In the 1980s, only about 2,000 Indian citizens lived in Switzerland, which is very few when you see the sheer size of India. And nowadays, it's already about 25,000 Indians, and those Indians are those people, I allow myself to say, from an economic perspective, that Switzerland needs, and those are the very talented ones. The IT specialists which work for the big Indian IT companies, which are, as they are in Austria, and I believe in Germany, they are also in Switzerland, like Wipro, Infosys, Cognizant. And these Indians that live in Switzerland, they have, I mean, they shaped the image of India, but they are also for the Indian companies here. And these Indian companies, in the end, they connect to the Swiss ecosystem, which is an innovative one. I will talk about this later. And they help to reinforce it. So it's very much a win-win situation, the presence of the Indian companies in Switzerland. And coming more in detail to those, we know that there are about 120 Indian companies with a presence in Switzerland. I mentioned the big ones from the IT sector, but there are also some small ones. I would like to mention one company. It is called Fleesom. Fleesom is manufacturing a kind of special solar panels, but not the fixed one. You can put those solar panels, they are very much to put everywhere. They are not, they are like a carpet. And the story behind it, the financing came for this startup came from Tata, TCS, and the knowledge came from the ETH Zurich, one of the best technical universities globally and for sure in Europe. And the person behind Fleesom, they are Indian. So this shows again very much how our ecosystems play into each other, and that they leverage our ecosystems to a better one, to one that is more profitable for all of us. So there are some facts about the Indian investments in Switzerland. I mentioned briefly. Most of the companies are from India and Switzerland are in the cantons of Zug, Zurich, Basel, and the Lake Geneva region. And yeah, that's maybe not so important, but I will add this argument later when I talk about the advantages of Switzerland. These areas, Zurich and Zug, for example, a very small canton, which is very competitive when it comes to taxes. It has the lowest corporate taxes in Switzerland with about 12%. But that's not the main point why so many companies are there. It is in Switzerland the so-called crypto valley. And there are many companies from blockchain and cryptocurrencies, but fintech generally have settled there. And yeah, they created an ecosystem which is again favorably for all its participants. Yeah, with this, I come to the strengths of Switzerland as an investment location, and I start with, in my opinion, the most important point. I mentioned Zug and the Crypto Valley, and Crypto Valley or Canton of Zug is a cluster. It is very close to Zurich, Zurich with the ETH, the Technical University of Zurich, where you have knowledge, where you have expertise, where you have basic research. And then with the right policies, yes, Zug and Switzerland have been able to attract all these very innovative companies and attract them. Yeah, besides this cluster in Zug, I mentioned the Lake Geneva region. It is very much also around another university, the EPFL. It's the Technical University in Lausanne. And the companies mostly from biotech sector are settled there. And I mention it in this context, these clusters, because this is probably the one of the unique selling points of Switzerland, and it's the fact that Switzerland is very small. This enables that all the actors which are active, that the ways are very short, that you can connect to the partners you need in order to innovate very quickly. So if you need a university, it's very you can connect very quickly. You have them in Zurich, you have in Lausanne, and the ways are short. And the ways are, I mean, when you travel from Geneva to Zurich, it's only about 3 hours by train. And Switzerland is in the middle of Europe, so the fact that Switzerland is small is an advantage, but it does not mean in the end that Switzerland is isolated, not at all. So Switzerland is connected to the European Union and to the neighboring countries, and offers a gateway to these most important markets. Having mentioned this as the most important and the unique selling points, the other points I mention now as strong points for Switzerland as an investment location are a bit the same. I also have to admit that, like what Austria and Germany offer, It is, I mentioned it already, the corporate taxes, which are low. Then the education system with the vocational education and training system, which is valid for Germany and Austria. But I think it's very much a point which is in favor of our 3 countries, because that's often neglected fact that innovation, I mean, when you have innovation, you have, of course, the basic research, you have the disruptive innovations, but many innovations come from persons with a background in VET, because they are specialists, they are technicians, they know their professions, and they can maybe, as I said, not in a disruptive way, innovate, but in a way that gives a comparative advantage, which is only valid in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and which other countries do not have, and yeah, which is a unique selling point for all of us. Yeah, and then last but not least, the policy, the framework conditions, which do matter, a strong IPR protection system, then political stability, quite flexible labor markets, also liberal immigration laws. So, and of course also I think also with English, it's companies can deal very much with English, and that's the fact, because Switzerland, as I mentioned, has 4 languages, and from a I would say cultural perspective, it's not very well, but for economy is well, and the common language becomes a bit more and more English. Yes. Good. With this, I would like to close and come to a bit of an outlook as the last point. Switzerland is, as I said, very open for investments. Switzerland is looking for investments for India, and especially in those sectors where our innovative ecosystems can connect. Switzerland is, as I mentioned and outlined, a very highly innovative country, and this connects is especially fruitful and prosperous. I would like to mention in 2 areas. The first one is the pharma industry, and the second one, the clean and renewable energy sector. India has strong companies and a strong ecosystem there. Switzerland as well, common interests, and companies from India from these sectors, but also from other sectors which are key and target sectors for investments, like fintech, like biotech, like medtech. Investments are very much welcome. And very last, to conclude, I also would like to mention, if there are further questions or a concrete interest to get in touch with Switzerland or to invest, there is the Swiss Business Hub, which is integrated in the Consulate General in Mumbai, but which has also an office in Delhi. They are very much helping Indian companies that are interested to invest in Switzerland, and they are the single point of entry for all companies, and the Swiss Business Hub is afterward distributing to the 26 cantons. And if a company from India would have an interest to invest in Switzerland, then the Business Hub will distribute it among all 26 cantons, and the 26 cantons, they can then say or signal that they are interested in this company, and offer kind of a package regarding the conditions for a company to settle there. So with this, very much open for questions also later. So please reach out to the embassy or the consulate general in Mumbai for further questions. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Florian Müller, for a nice presentation and a detailed one, I must say. And as we have a time constraint, so we'll be compiling the questions and I will be sharing all those questions with you all. So before we conclude, I would request my colleague Mayank Chatwal, if we can, as we are having the virtual event also going on, so we'll like to just show you the platform, how it works. So Mayank, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Welcome all the distinguished guests. So just to take you further, once you log in on the virtual platform, this is the first screen that comes in front of you, which is the lobby area. In the lobby area, you can see we have options available as agenda, Expo Hall, auditorium, and B2B meetings. So for example, if we click the agenda part, we have the 2-day agenda available with us in sequence. So one can actually go through and decide which session to attend, and accordingly can get the information for that particular session. Going back, we have the Expo Hall. We have the auditorium and the P2P meeting. So if we click on the Expo Hall, we can see the different stands which are available. I will just quickly take you through one of these stands which is there, so that you know the deliverables from the stands perspective. So this is a virtual stand which is there. One can actually go to the social media platform of this particular company, which is the Kalin. One can download brochures. One can actually see the corporate video of this particular company. This is just for your example. One can find the contact detail of the concerned person and also do a WhatsApp chat as well, along with the video and the normal chat on the platform. So going back, we have the auditorium, which is the live auditorium we have shared with you initially also on the WebEx itself. So basically, one can actually have a view of the auditorium where all the speakers are there, and accordingly you can understand and you can download, you can ask questions and download the agenda as well from where to. Going back, we have a separate segment which says B2B meeting. So we have basically 3 meeting rooms. One can actually enter this particular meeting room and start one-to-one meetings with the other person and ask him to join this particular meeting together. So there'll be approximately 4 people who can join through this particular meeting to go with. So this is the overall look and feel of the main convention itself. So you can have all the brandings on the left and right hand sides to go with. That will all. If you have any questions, I would request you can get back to us, or you can also drop in a message on the help desk, which is mentioned there on the right hand side, or you can also click on the help desk, which is there in front of the main convention center. It's right there. If you click here, you can see the help desk available here as well. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayank. So I would request, gentlemen, whenever you get time, you can just log on to it and maybe interact with the exhibitors who are participating and showcase in this. So with this, we come to the end of our session today. So I would like to thank you all on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry for sharing your time today and sharing your views. And we look forward to work very closely with you so that the moment things open up, we can plan our physical delegations and also host the delegations coming from your respective countries so that more business can transact between the 2 countries. So I once again thank you all. I would like to thank Dr. Stephen, Mr. Hans, Mr. Florian Müller, also Mr. Debashish and His Excellency Mr. Jayadeep for sparing their time today and being with us. And we look forward to work closely with you and have more interactive sessions with you soon, sir. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.